First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX and WIBX950.com.
Elevate your summer with Osea's best-selling body care set. It's everything you need for radiant summer skin on the go. Featuring travel sizes of Osea's clean, vegan, cruelty-free, and climate-neutral skincare, like their best-selling Undaria algae body oil. Right now, you can get the bestsellers body care set, a $78 value, 33% off. And use code SUMMER to save an additional 10%. That's an additional 10% off at OCEAMalibu.com, code SUMMER.
I want to go to Keith Levatino. He is the superintendent of schools at Little Falls. And Keith, good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you this morning?
You know, we should get a digital governor. That would work. Because we all clearly heard on Friday that you didn't have to wear a mask, right?
Boy,
we clearly heard it.
When you first heard that Howard Zucker came out with the statement saying, we're going to remove masks from schools, and, oh, by the way, it starts Monday morning, what were you thinking? Like, maybe a little heads up would be nice.
Well, more than a heads up, plus Friday afternoon at 4 or 5 that we couldn't even communicate with faculty or staff,
right. Yep.
let alone parents. I then realized everything that I'm going to be working on all the weekend because everyone interprets things differently, and appropriately so,
yep.
and how we're going to convey those messages. And then this morning I was thinking, but at the same time, there's no talk about making modifications to the school bus rule, where we still have to maintain social distancing, where there can only be a certain amount of students. See, for us, that hurts because we have a limited fleet, so we still have to have a 3-2, 2-3 model at our junior and senior middle school and high school.
Yep.
Because they don't think about all that goes into this. So to answer your question, it's just been kind of chaotic this entire weekend.
Yeah.
And I feel bad because you send out one message, and then 2 hours later you're sending out another message. And now I guess we're patiently waiting for the governor to decide when he hears back from the CDC's response. I believe that's the latest.
Isn't there a little bit of, why are you doing this to us right now? When elementary schools, they have about 3 weeks left, and high schools are wrapping things up.
Absolutely. And I have to say that there was a positive feeling going on. The positivity rate has been going down. We're here in school. Yeah, it's hot, but it's not winter. There's just an upbeat feeling. We're having end-of-the-year ceremonies. And, yes, you're right. They throw this at us with limited time left in the school year. We don't understand it.
Yeah. And then out of nowhere, the governor, there must have been enough angry out there for the governor's office to make a declaration on Sunday afternoon clarifying that the mask order was still in place.
Yes, because I think everybody coming to each different school in each different community was interpreting it differently.
Yeah.
It would have been really inconsistent. That's why I give credit to our region here and District Superintendent Sherwood of the Herkimer BOCES. All of us, the superintendents, were communicating throughout the weekend because we like to send a common message. And she drafted a letter, and I believe you saw that letter,
I did.
Bill.
Yep.
And at least we're common for today because many people were asking all different questions. And then what happens if a mom or dad interprets it that they don't have to wear a mask and they send them to school, and then we say they do? It's almost like it's plotting people against people without being providing clarity.
I agree. Because I will tell you on a couple of the websites that have developed on Facebook over this pandemic, after the governor came out and said masks had to be worn, all of a sudden it populated those sites all over again with angry parents saying, how can you do this to my kid in the final 3 weeks of school, and et cetera, et cetera. All it's doing is just, the fire's smoldering. It's gotten down to the point where it's just smoldering, and let's throw some kindling and some gasoline on that fire.
Right. Instead of letting us end school on a relatively positive note.
Yeah.
Again, we're planning our end-of-the-year ceremonies. We're following the guidelines. Kids are in school. Faculty and staff are feeling better about themselves. But when I read this letter and he's comparing it to camps, that's a big difference between a school building holding over 1,000 kids and a small outdoor camp.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just difficult to interpret. I'm hoping it's just not me.
I don't think it is. And,
No,
especially it's got to be frustrating because in schools, everything is done. You're dealing with children. You're dealing with parents. I understand it's probably very difficult to run a state. But the beauty of a state is you have county executives, you have mayors, and you have common councils, etc. Everybody's kind of running this. You just kind of have to oversee it. And I guess you could say that's kind of like being a superintendent. But the reality is you have a system in place that you have to follow. You start messing with it, and all of a sudden it throws everything out of whack. It's got to be frustrating, as this whole year has been, with the lack of guidance and the surprise guidance. It's got to be frustrating as a school official.
Well, and when you have systematic systems in place, as we do, and we follow them consistently, the aggravating part is when they're interrupted by an outside resource or an outside agency. It's one thing if I, as the superintendent, make a drastic change, which I would never do, because we work collaboratively through committees. Decisions are based on research and so forth. But we come together and we make decisions together so that all stakeholders are involved. Now it's decisions are made, and it's affecting all the stakeholders who had absolutely no say in it.
Yeah. Officially, what is the policy on dances and proms and that sort of thing? And what is the policy on graduation that you guys have been given?
So there's a seating capacity. I want to say it's max 250 inside, 500 outside.
Okay.
And we are going to be doing it outside. That's the latest. Don't call me on that, but I spoke to our high school principal about it just the other day. So we are having a ceremony outside because we can accommodate the maximum amount in our stadium.
Yeah.
So that's the plan as of now.
Okay.
Traditionally, we have it inside. We have a beautiful auditorium that's air conditioned, but last year and this year, because of the pandemic, we couldn't do that. But we are able to have one, which is good.
Again, I won't even say the district, but I saw pictures posted over the weekend, and I think this was part of the confusion. Somebody had a prom, and I saw it was about 20, 25 kids, boys and girls, in a group photo, not one mask. So you have to wear it in school, but you don't have to wear it at the prom. And part of that was prompted by, I think, Friday's announcement.
Well, I wonder about that. I know
that's interesting.
I have somebody, and not to bring you into this, Keith, but because I know you did come from New Hartford, but I had somebody complaining about New Hartford this morning, saying that the kids were not allowed to go out of their pods. They either had to be vaccinated or get a negative test, and then they were required to wear masks at New Hartford and stay in their pods. And at one point, the music was stopped because the kids were out of the pods. So it seems like their rules in New Hartford were pretty strict.
This wasn't New Hartford, the district I referred to, but it's like when there's confusion like this, it puts school administrators in a tough position because basically you have to make what you feel is the best decision.
Yeah.
And despite all the experience they have, they're not really trained in dealing with a pandemic, although I guess we're out of it. I don't even know. I don't even know anymore.
It is interesting how many years schools, this is the way it works. Here's how the process works. Yes, there are things that throw a monkey wrench into things as time goes on, and there are these little mini controversies over the years. But this year, we've just never seen change like we've seen starting in March of last year. I mean, it really has to have been quite an amazing year.
And you have to change on the fly.
Yeah.
Look what happened just Friday. And, I'll defend all of us, all schools, Little Falls, New Hartford, all schools, in saying that we consult with our local Department of Health. They've been doing a fantastic job. Nobody knows the demands on them.
Yeah.
But in fairness to them, their messages are different because if you look across New York State, it's different. Downstate, Central New York, Western New York. There's so many different messages that you feel for them, too. I am so grateful for our Department of Health because they have provided us with so much guidance on such things as proms, graduations, and so forth. But again, they're interpreting it to the best of their ability from what they're getting from the state level.
Well, let's hope we go back with some normalcy in the fall.
Yeah, amen to that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm already looking forward to it.
Keith, I appreciate you coming on this morning, and we'll see what the next element of guidance is going forward here.
All right. As always, thank you both for having me, and please stay safe and best to your families.
You do the same. Thank you so much. Keith Levatino is the superintendent of schools at Little Falls.
And that was a thank you to Bill and Andrew, by the way.
No, I don't think so. I think you got it this time.
Actually, it was me and Angelo, to be honest.
Did you notice... with everything that's been going on this year, how certain terms come out, and he was talking about ending the year on a positivity note. How many
Right.
times it is the positivity numbers, or how many the positivity rate and everything like that. So it was kind
all
of
these words and terms and topics that just played no role, right?
right.
Ever before, and now, it really has been an unbelievable year when you think about it, and again, to throw a monkey wrench into this whole thing on Friday and then backtrack, you just make everybody upset, and you make it confusing for everybody.
Keith started to say this, and I should have asked more specifically. So he went into a panic basically Friday night. You got to notify teachers, you got to notify parents, all this stuff, and then I'm sure that spilled over into Saturday.
Yes.
And all that time you spent trying to do that Friday, Saturday, Sunday they come out and go, never mind, I'm sorry. It was an inadvertent whistle. We didn't mean to blow the whistle. That's what
I was communicating with him yesterday afternoon, and with other districts as well. And then all of a sudden you got the notice that everything had changed, and the governor's office said masks have to be worn. So it has just been really crazy. I can't imagine what they've had to go through, and what parents and teachers and everybody. It's just difficult for everybody.
So to recap, you're sending your child to school this morning, and I guess that they're probably already there. They should be in a mask.
They got to be in a mask.
Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.